there, English learners. Welcome back to Clip Your English. I'm Rachel, and I'm absolutely thrilled you've joined me today for another episode of Real English Conversations.
And I'm Jake. Rachel, I have to say, today's topic is something I think every English learner needs to master.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about speaking English at the airport. And trust me, this isn't just about learning a few phrases. We're going to walk through everything from the moment you step into the airport until you're settled in your seat on the plane.
By the end of this episode, you'll have the confidence to navigate any airport situation in English. No more awkward moments or confusion.
And here's the thing. Stick around because we're going to share some insider tips that even advanced English speakers don't always know. You might be surprised by how many people get these phrases completely wrong.
Trust me, after listening to this, you'll sound like a pro traveler. So grab your headphones, get comfortable, and let's dive in.
So, Jake, I remember the first time I traveled internationally. I was so nervous about speaking English at the airport.
Oh man, I totally get that. It's like you know the basic words, but then you're standing there with your boarding pass and suddenly your mind goes blank.
Exactly. And airports can be overwhelming even in your native language. All those announcements, signs everywhere.
Right? So let's start from the very beginning. You've just arrived at the airport. Maybe you're taking a taxi or your friend dropped you off. What's the first thing you need to do?
Well, first you need to find your way around. And honestly, asking for directions is probably the most useful skill you can have.
Absolutely. So let's say you're looking for the check-in counter. What would you say?
The simplest way is just, excuse me, where's the check-in for American Airlines? But you know what? There are actually several ways to ask this.
Yeah, you could say, could you tell me where the American Airlines check-in is? Or even, I'm looking for the American Airlines counter?
Ooh, and here's a really natural one. Do you know where I can check in for American Airlines?
I love that one. It sounds so conversational. And the person will usually point and say something like, it's over there, on the left, or go straight and turn right.
Right. And if you don't understand the directions, don't be shy. Just say, sorry, could you repeat that? Or could you show me on this map?
That's such good advice. Most people are really helpful at airports. They understand that travelers need assistance.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about checking in. This is where things get a bit more detailed.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So you're at the counter and the agent says, good morning, how can I help you?
And you respond with, hi, I'd like to check in for flight 245 to Chicago. Simple and clear.
Perfect. Then they'll usually ask, can I see your passport and boarding pass, please?
Or sometimes they'll say, may I have your travel documents? That just means passport and ticket.
Right. And here's where it gets interesting. They might ask, are you checking any bags today?
This is important. If you have a suitcase, you say, yes, I have one bag to check, or I have two bags to check.
And if you only have carry-on luggage, you can say, no, I just have carry-on, or no, just this bag with me.
Now, Jake, what about when they ask about the weight?
Oh, good point. They might say, let's put your bag on the scale. And if it's overweight, they'll say something like, your bag is 5 pounds over the limit.
Oh, I hate when that happens. You can ask, what are my options? Or can I move some things to my carry-on?
Sometimes you can pay the extra fee. They'll say, the additional charge is $50. Would you like to pay that?
And you can respond, yes, that's fine. Or actually, let me rearrange my bags first.
The airport shuffle. I've done that so many times.
We all have. Now, let's move on to security. This is where people often get nervous.
Oh, security can be tricky. There are so many rules and they change sometimes.
Exactly. So you're in line and you see the signs about liquids, laptops, shoes,
Right. The security officer might say, please remove your shoes, belt, and jacket.
or take out your laptop and put it in a separate bin.
And don't forget about liquids. They'll say, all liquids must be in containers of 100 milliliters or less.
If you have a question, you can ask, do I need to take out my phone charger or should I remove my watch?
Most officers are pretty patient. They understand that rules can be confusing.
Now, what if the metal detector beeps?
Oh, that's happened to me. The officer will say, please step to the side, or we need to do a quick pat down.
Don't worry, it's totally normal. You can ask, what set it off? And they'll usually explain. Maybe it's a belt buckle or coins in your pocket,
Right. They might say, please empty your pockets, or do you have any metal objects on you?
and you just cooperate. Say, oh, I forgot about my keys, or I think it's my belt.
Once you're through security, you're in the departure area. Time to find your gate.
This is actually pretty easy. Just look at your boarding pass and find the gate number.
But what if you can't find it?
Ask someone, excuse me, how do I get to gate B12? Or which way is gate B12?
They'll usually say, it's down that hallway, or take the train to Terminal B.
Oh, speaking of trains, many big airports have those shuttle trains between terminals.
Yeah, the announcements usually say, the train to Terminal B is now arriving, or next stop, Terminal C.
Now, let's talk about what to do while you're waiting at the gate.
Right, so you found your gate, maybe you have some time to kill.
The first thing I always do is check the departure board. You want to make sure your flight is on time.
Good idea. It might say, on time, delayed, or boarding.
If it says delayed, you can ask the gate agent, do you know how long the delay will be?
They might say, we're looking at about a 30-minute delay, or we don't have an update yet.
And if you need to use the restroom or grab food, you can ask, will there be any announcements if something changes?
Most gate agents will say, yes, we'll make announcements, or just keep an eye on the board.
Now, let's talk about boarding. This is where things get a bit hectic.
Oh yeah, boarding can be confusing. There are different groups, zones, priority passengers.
Right. They'll usually announce, we're now boarding Group 1, or we're now inviting our first class passengers to board.
And you check your boarding pass to see which group you're in.
If you're not sure, you can ask, which group am I in? And show them your boarding pass.
When it's your turn, you walk up to the gate agent and they'll scan your boarding pass. They might say, have a nice flight, or enjoy your trip. And you can respond, thank you, or thanks, have a great day.
Now you're on the plane. Time to interact with the flight attendants.
This is actually really important. Flight attendants are there to help, and they're usually very friendly.
When you board, they'll often greet you with welcome aboard or good morning.
You can just smile and say thank you, or good morning.
Now, finding your seat. If you can't find it, just ask, excuse me, could you help me find seat 14A?
They'll say, sure, it's right down there on the left, or follow me, I'll show you.
What about putting your bag in the overhead bin?
Good question. If you're struggling, you can ask, could you help me with this, or is there room in this bin?
Flight attendants are usually happy to help. They might say, let me get that for you, or try the bin across the aisle.
Now, once you're seated, they'll start the safety demonstration.
Right. And then they'll come around offering drinks and snacks.
They'll ask, would you like something to drink, or can I get you anything?
You can say, could I have water, please? Or I'll take a coffee, thanks.
If you want to be more specific, you might say, could I have coffee with cream, or just water with ice, please?
And if you have special dietary needs, you can ask, do you have any vegetarian snacks or is this gluten free?
Most flight attendants are really knowledgeable about ingredients and dietary restrictions.
What about if you need help during the flight?
Just use the call button or catch their attention when they walk by.
You can say, excuse me, could I get another pillow? Or would it be possible to get a blanket?
If you're feeling sick, don't hesitate to tell them, I'm not feeling well, or I think I need some motion sickness medicine.
They're trained to handle all kinds of situations. They may ask, what can I do to help? Or would you like me to get you some water?
And if you need to use the restroom, you can ask, is it okay to use the restroom now?
Usually they'll say, of course, but sometimes during turbulence, they might say, could you wait just a few minutes?
Speaking of turbulence, don't worry if the captain makes an announcement about it.
Right. They'll say something like, we're experiencing some light turbulence, or please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
It sounds scary, but it's totally normal. Just follow their instructions.
Now, what about when you're landing?
The flight attendants will prepare the cabin for landing. They'll say, please make sure your seat is upright, or tray tables up, please.
And they'll remind everyone, make sure your seatbelt is fastened.
Once you land, they'll usually say, welcome to Chicago, or whatever city you're in.
Then comes the announcement. Please remain seated until the seatbelt sign is turned off.
I know it's tempting to jump up right away, but just wait for that signal.
When you're getting off the plane, the flight attendants will say, thank you for flying with us, or have a great day.
And you can respond, thank you, or thanks for everything.
You know what, Jake? We've covered so much ground here.
We really have. From asking for directions to talking with flight attendants, that's a complete airport experience.
And the key thing to remember is that most people in airports are there to help. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Absolutely. Your English doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you're polite and clear, people will understand.
Right. And practice makes perfect. The more you travel, the more confident you'll become.
Oh, and here's a pro tip. Learn a few key phrases before you travel. Write them down if you need to.
That's brilliant advice. Things like, where is? Could you help me? And thank you so much.
Those 3 phrases alone will get you through most situations.
And remember, it's okay to ask people to repeat things. Sorry, could you say that again? Is perfectly fine.
People expect travelers to need a little extra help. There's no shame in that.
You know what, Jake? I think our listeners are going to feel so much more confident after this episode.
I really hope so. Traveling should be exciting, not stressful.
Exactly. And with these phrases and tips, you'll be navigating airports like a pro. Wow, Jake, we covered so much today. Let's do a quick recap for everyone.
Great idea. So we learned how to ask for directions, check in for your flight, go through security, find your gate, board the plane, and talk to flight attendants.
That's basically everything you need for a stress-free airport experience in English.
And remember, the key phrases are, excuse me, where is, could you help me, and thank you so much.
Those 3 will take you far. Now, I want to hear from you. Which part of the airport experience makes you most nervous? Is it security? Talking to flight attendants? Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, we read every single comment, and we love hearing about your travel experiences.
And if this episode helped you feel more confident about traveling, please hit that like button and share it with a friend who's planning a trip.
Don't forget to subscribe to Clip Your English for more real English conversations every single week.
We have so many more practical episodes coming up. Ordering food, shopping, making phone calls.
All the English you actually need in real life.
Thanks for spending time with us today, everyone. Safe travels, and we'll see you next week.
Keep practicing, keep learning, and remember, you've got this.
Bye for now.
See you soon.